It is December 30th, 2022. And at the end of the year, we're just going to have a little edition of Men Behaving Badly. There's a man named Andrew Tate, who's this quasi-British former kickboxer turned uh, toxic masculinity TikTok star. He believes things like, women should be wholly possessed and owned by men and controlled by men, and they shouldn't have um, uh, their own rights. And when questioned about things like the legal persecution of women and of in like places like Afghanistan, he says, "Yeah, that's not equal, but I can't say it's wrong." Like he's an asshole. A big blowhard. Uh, will just talk over anything just to keep repeating and making his point, but as just a complete asshole. So apparently he went on Twitter, and I don't know why he decided to do this, if there was something that spurred it. But he put a picture of himself putting gas in his car, and he sent it to publicly on Twitter to Greta Thunberg, the Scandinavian teenage climate change activist, and it said, uh, "This is my Bugatti," and he's like, "I've got 33 cars, and my two other Ferraris." Well, and basically, he's like, "Give me your email address so that I can give you the rundown of all of my cars and the massive amounts of um, pollution that they create." So she writes back. She sees it. She quote tweets it and says, "Oh yes, please enlighten me. Email me at," and she made up an email address at smalldickenergy@getalife.com. So of course the internet goes crazy because that's hilarious. And she gets cheered, he gets booed. The right wing nut jobs, of course, attack her, um, as an autistic teenage high school dropout, and they're of course they're just nasty and awful. But most of the praise goes to her, and most of the um, dunking goes on him. So he can't take it anymore. He gets upset and he posts a video in response. I haven't seen the video. Um, I'm sure it's bullshit and mean and degrading. But in it, he it's from wherever he's staying. Excuse me. And there's pizza boxes in the video, and apparently he's been wanted in Romania for he's been accused of sex trafficking, and they've been trying to find him and find out whether or not he's in the country. But the pizza boxes were from a local place, so they knew he was in the country. They figured out where he was, and they went and arrested him and his brother on sex trafficking charges. No bail, potential couple decades in prison. Uh, so he's fucked. Which, if he's guilty of sex trafficking, then good. You can go to prison for the rest of your life. We don't need you. This is another example of somebody who had been banned on Twitter that Elon Musk let back on Twitter, and now look what's happened. Oh, what justice. Um, and then, you know, to put a little button on the whole thing, not quote tweeting or retweeting anything, just a random tweet from Greta Thunberg says, "Well, see, this is what happens when you don't recycle your pizza boxes." Oh, that young lady just gives me joy. Um, so Andrew Tate can rot in prison. And then there's this moron from Long Island who won his congressional seat as a Republican, as a gay Republican, which, by the way, is a thing that I don't understand to begin with. Um, you know, that's not a party that really wants us. So, or takes care of us in any way. Mostly works against us. So that whole oxymoron of, weird, self-denial and self-hatred to be a gay Republican. But it came out, I guess, like a week ago or a little while ago that, things that he had put on his resume and things that he had talked about, that he graduated from Baruch College. No, he didn't. That he worked at Goldman Sachs. No, he didn't. I think he said he also worked at Citibank. No, he didn't. um, and claiming Jewish heritage, which he explained as saying he grew up Catholic, but because his mother had Jewish heritage somewhere in her background, he refers to himself as Jew-ish. Oh, that's a good one, George. And now it's come out that he, in various interviews, he lied about where he went to prep school because he didn't go to prep school. He tweeted at one point that having lost his mother on September 11th, something, something, something offended him. And then later tweeted on like Christmas Eve, it being the anniversary of his mother's death, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, okay, maybe it's possible that on September 11th, your mother just did get lost. She didn't die, just lost track of her. And then maybe you didn't find out. Maybe she just hung around somewhere and then died on Christmas Eve. I don't know. But I'm willing to bet that both of those things are a lie. He's also was under investigation for fraud charges in Brazil in 2008. It looks like he loaned his own campaign almost $750,000, but it's unclear where he got that. There's some evidence that it may have come from a Russian oligarch. And there's pictures of him with Bolsonaro and evidence of him being at the White House a couple days before January 6th. So he's like, he's one of those. And we don't need any more of those in Congress. So now there's a bunch of investigations going on about him locally and now federally. So he's supposed to get sworn in on, well, I guess Monday, because they won't do it on Sunday. But I don't think they'll do it on Sunday. I don't know. But so, there's a GOP House seat that might get lost. And if he loses it, I believe the governor of the state where he's, if he's kicked out of gets to appoint someone. So maybe she'll just appoint the Democrat who ran. There's a seat back. So that's fun. And then on the last day of this Congress, when the Democrats are in charge of the House, they released Trump's tax information. I think something like 6 years of tax information. But I am not going to read it. I'm not a tax expert. I will let the experts read it and find out what happens, because this could be very delicious. What a way to end 2022 so far. We still got a day to go, kids. Hope everyone's having a happy holiday.